So dear students, continuing with our previous topic, प्लांट टिश्यूज ऑलरेडी पढ़ा है हमने, एनिमल टिश्यूज हम पढ़ रहे हैं. तीसरा टिश्यू जो एनिमल्स का है दैट इज द कनेक्टिव टिश्यू. Connective tissue. The third type of tissue that is present in the animals, that is the connective tissue. Epithelial tissues and muscular tissues that we have already done. The third type of tissue, that is the connective tissue. This connective tissue, as the name suggests, this tissue is specialized to connect. This tissue is specialized to connect and anchor, जोड़ देना, and anchor various body organs. जो हमारी बॉडी के डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स हैं, उन बॉडी ऑर्गन्स के दरमियान जो कनेक्टिव टिश्यू होता है, जो कनेक्शंस होते हैं, दैट कनेक्शंस आर मेड बाय दिस टाइप ऑफ टिश्यू दैट वी कॉल्ड एज द कनेक्टिव टिश्यू. दिस टिश्यू, it connects bones with each other. It connects bones with each other. It connects bones with muscles. Bones with muscles. Not only that, it also supports various body parts. This tissue, it supports various parts of our body. This tissue, it forms packing. It forms packing around different body organs. Different body organs. जो हमारी body organs है, उनके इर्द गिर्द जो packing tissue होता है, that is also this connective tissue. The cells of this tissue are living. Cells are living with intercellular spaces. With intercellular spaces. And an interesting feature of this tissue is that a fluid-like substance, a fluid-like substance, a fluid-like substance called matrix, important point, called matrix forms the main bulk of the connective tissue. Main bulk of the connective tissue. This connective tissue, it has a component which we called as the matrix. What is that matrix? It is a fluid-like substance which forms the main bulk of the connective tissue. And this matrix, it can be of three forms. Connective tissue का जो matrix होता है, ये तीन forms में exist हो सकता है. Either it can be jelly-like, viscous, jelly-like, or it may be fluid, or it may also be a solid matrix. So this connective tissue, it has a fluid-like substance which we called as the matrix. That matrix forms the main bulk of the connective tissue. This matrix can be either jelly-like, it can be either fluid, or it can be either solid matrix, depending on the basis of the nature of the matrix, whether it is jelly-like or fluid or solid. We have three types of connective tissues. So here comes first the classification of connective tissue. For classification, we have the criteria: the nature of the matrix. The nature of the matrix. Depending upon the nature of the matrix, this connective tissue, it is of three types. We may categorize into three categories. Number first is three categories. Number first is that we called as the connective tissue proper. Connective tissue proper. Number second is that we called as skeletal connective tissue. Skeletal connective tissue. And number fourth is that we called as the fluid or vascular connective tissue. Vascular connective tissue. So these are the three types of connective tissues which are present in our body depending upon the nature of matrix. If the matrix is jelly like, then we called it a connective tissue proper. If the matrix is jelly like, then we called it the connective tissue proper. And if the matrix is solid, then we called it the skeletal connective tissue. And if the matrix is fluid matrix, then we called it the vascular connective tissue. So this is the main outline classification. First setup, connective tissue. It is of three types depending upon the nature of matrix, whether the matrix is jelly like, whether the matrix is solid, or whether the matrix is fluid in nature. If the matrix is jelly like, then we called it the connective tissue proper. If the matrix is solid in nature, then we called it the skeletal connective tissue. And if the matrix is fluid matrix, then we called it the vascular connective tissue. This connective tissue proper, it is further of three types. This connective tissue proper, it is further of three types. The first is that we called as the loose connective tissue. This loose connective tissue, it is also called as areolar tissue. Then we have the next one, that is the dense connective tissue. This dense connective tissue, it is further of two types that we called as first tendons, next is ligaments, and third connective tissue proper is that we called as the adipose tissue. So up to now we came to know that the connective tissue, it is of three types depending upon the nature of matrix. The first is the connective tissue proper, while the matrix is jelly like, and this connective tissue proper is further of three types: the loose connective tissue, that we also called as the areolar tissue, the dense connective tissue. Dense connective tissue is of two types in our body: the tendons and the ligaments, and the adipose tissue. Moving further on classification, this skeletal connective tissue, while the matrix is solid matrix, it is of two types in our body. The first is the bone, second is the cartilage. Bone and cartilage. And this fluid matrix connective tissue that we call as the vascular connective tissue, it is also of two types in our body. The first is the blood, and the next is the lymph. So these are the three. These are the different types of the connective tissue. These are the different types of the connective tissue. That is the connective tissue proper, three types. Loose connective tissue was areolar tissue. Dense connective tissue, that is of two types: tendons and ligaments. Adipose tissue, Then comes the next subtype, skeletal connective tissue, where the matrix is solid. It is of two types, the bones and the cartilage, and the vascular connective tissue, that is the where the matrix is in fluid nature. It is of two types, the blood and the lymph. Moving further on, in this classification, we have come to know about two different points. The connective tissue proper, starting with, we will dealing with all these tissues one by one. Connective tissue proper, it is of two types, the loose connective tissue and the dense connective tissue. क्यों कहते हैं हम इसको लूज कनेक्टिव टिश्यू या डेंस कनेक्टिव टिश्यू? इसका रीजन क्या है? दैट इज this connective tissue proper, why I have told you that the matrix is jelly, matrix is jelly like, and this jelly like matrix, it is formed of complex chemicals. It is formed of complex chemicals like glycoproteins. It is formed of complex chemicals like that we call as mucopolysaccharides. And it is also formed of three types of cells. This matrix, three types of cells it possesses. Those cells we called as three types of cells, or rather we may call it three types of fibers. These fibers are three types. First is the white collagen fibers. These are the three types of fibers that are present in the matrix of this loose connective tissue. White collagen fibers. Second is the yellow elastin fibers. And third is the reticular fibers. These are the three types of fibers that are present in this matrix. This matrix also possesses some cells like, जिन cells का नाम है fibroblasts. Cells like fibroblasts include, इनमें cells कौन कौन सी आती है? एक तो आती है जिनको आप कहते हैं mast cells, नाम याद रखना है, mast cells. दूसरी सेल है जिसको आप कहते हैं plasma cells, macrophages and lymphocytes. These are the different types of cells that are present in this matrix of the loose connective tissue. Then connective tissue proper, why we called is that as the loose connective tissue. This loose connective tissue is, the name is because this loose connective tissue, it has fewer types of fibers. इसमें fibers कम हैं, matrix ज़्यादा है. ये जो fibers हैं, ये white collagen fibers या yellow elastin fibers, इसमें fibers कम हैं, less fibers and more matrix. इसमें matrix fluid portion ज़्यादा है, fibers कम हैं, that is why they lose connective tissue. This dense connective tissue, that is a component of tendons and ligaments, इसमें है ज़्यादा, इसमें है fibers ज़्यादा हैं, matrix कम है. More fibers, less matrix. This was just the outline classification of the connective tissue. We will be dealing with all these tissue, that is the areolar tissue, the tendons and ligaments, the adipose tissue, the bone, the cartilage, blood and lymph. One by one we'll be dealing with in our consecutive lectures. Thank you all.